Not mid. Right. This
Neil, how you doing? Good. I gotta get back with you on this weight bench stuff if you guys are still interested. Yeah. So I was trying to, you reached out to me, I was trying to find if I had a picture. I gotta go to the storage locker, probably take a picture. Yeah. Couldn't find one, but yeah. It's a really nice set, but I moved on to like all these Bowflex adjustable weights,
Stuff, yeah,
and it takes less room in my house. Of course, my son's growing, so I'm sure a few years he'll be like, I want a big weight set. I'm like, Dave's not dropping $1,000 on weight set. I just gave my old one away.
Well, yeah, shoot me a picture and we'll see what we do.
Yeah, there's a lot of weights, straight bars, curl bars, you know, big size bench. So, but I mean, good thing for guys to focus on other than the problems.
Yeah.
I've been teaching my son that, and he's like, I'm glad he's only 10, just turned 11, but he's kind of taken that to a good outlet.
It's a great outlet. You get exhausted doing that versus all this other garbage.
Exactly.
That's good stuff.
So,
Your son play sports?
he's starting football, but he wrestles. And so I help coach the Little League wrestling team here. And he also plays baseball. And he put soccer on the back burner because he wanted to do football. So.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me too. I was never a soccer guy, so I was like, you want to play football? That's awesome.
I wasn't a wrestling guy, but I always respected the wrestlers because whenever I messed with them, they would always have me in some sort of figure four and I couldn't do nothing.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I coached high school wrestling for years. I coached McClure and then McClure South Berkeley.
Okay.
And then when my son was born, I started doing McClure South.
so I'm from Ohio. I coached varsity offensive line for like 15 years in Oregon County.
Yeah.
So like, loved all that stuff. So,
I was too poor to play football. wrestling, all I had to do was buy shoes.
Yeah, we didn't have to pay in Ohio. We were big enough school where it's like,
Well, and there's a lot more access to that stuff here than in Fulton County right now.
oh, for sure. Yeah.
So when he went to play football out here, I mean, it was everywhere. You know, all his friends are playing. I'm like, okay. Back in North County, it's like, where do I got to take you? Drive you across the county and pay $1,000 a year. So much better for out here.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, sir.
6:30, call this city meeting to order. You all join me in the pledge of allegiance. Thank you all. Before we move on, I'd like to handle the proclamation. Ladies, would you come down?
All right. So you're from the Daughters of the American Revolution.
The Troy chapter of
Troy
the
chapter.
Daughter. Yes.
All right. So proclamation recognizing the America 250 commemoration. The year 2026 marks the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence and the birth of the United States of America. And whereas the historic milestone provides an opportunity to honor the courage, vision, and sacrifice of the nation's founders while reflecting upon the enduring principles of liberty, equality, justice, and representative government upon which our nation was established. And the America 250 initiative encourages communities across the nation to commemorate the semi-quincentennial through civic engagement, education, historic preservation, and recognition of the people and events that have shaped our nation, state, and local communities. And whereas the state of Missouri, the proud Show Me state, has played a significant role in our nation's history, and the city of Troy is honored to join the communities across Missouri in celebrating 250 years of American independence while recognizing the contributions of Missourians, past and present, to the strength and prosperity of our nation. And whereas preserving and sharing the history of our city, our Show Me state, and our nation strengthens our community, fosters civic pride, and reminds us of the responsibilities and freedoms entrusted to every American citizen. Now, therefore, I, Quentin Laws, Mayor of the City of Troy, Missouri, do hereby proclaim the City of Troy's support for the America 250 commemoration and encourage all residents, businesses, schools, civic organizations, and community partners to participate in the activities that commemorate the 250th anniversary of the United States of America.
Thank you. You want you to come up here in the front?
Yep.
Smile. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for doing this.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
I do have another proclamation, but I don't see Mr. Tapley in attendance, so we will. Okay. Yeah, we'll move on. I do see that we have a quorum present, all aldermen here. I'd like to move on. The chair has a couple of things we need to address. I would like to amend the agenda to add the approval of a liquor license application for the Knights of Columbus to add on under the consent agenda. There's no objections. Okay. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. You have an indication? Would you step forward, please? I'm sorry, sir.
And once again, I'm just here to do opening prayer, so very happy to be here with you all. I give credit to Ben Franklin. He gave a short speech, and I adapted it to a prayer, so if you can bow your heads and please pray with me. Heavenly Father, we give thee thanks for all thy many blessings and the opportunity to serve thine people. And yet we also humbly acknowledge to be a people groping in the dark to find political truth and scarce able to distinguish it when presented to us. Amidst our difficulties, we once again appeal to you, the Father of lights, to illumine our understanding. For we remember on this day that the prayers of those who have gone before us have been heard and been graciously answered. Let us not forget that in thee, O God, we have a powerful friend, and let us not imagine that we no longer need thine assistance. Let us recall that you, O God, govern the affairs of men, and a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without your notice. And so in humility, let us perceive that no great deed can arise without thine aid. And let us remember that unless the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Therefore, acknowledging that we shall succeed no better than the builders of Babel without thine assistance, we beseech thee now, most gracious God, that you accept these prayers imploring the assistance of heaven, and that thou pour forth thy many blessings on our deliberations, our efforts, and on this entire city, who we entrust to thy goodness and love. We pray this through Christ our Lord. Amen. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thanks.
Okay.
What we got? Oh, yes. So add the approval of liquor license for the Knights of Columbus for the Memories on Main Street application. And then the chair will entertain a motion to approve the agenda and consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none, ask the clerk, call the roll, please.
Gebhardt?
Yes.
Huffman?
Yes.
Markey?
Aye.
Pizzada?
Yes.
Wallet?
Yes.
Dieter?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Now, another housekeeping item, DC3 Properties LLC has postponed their application here on the rezoning request. That will not be considered tonight. We will still hold a public hearing, we will still speak on it, but they have withdrawn their application.
Postponed.
Postponed. So at this point in time, I will open the public hearings on the following, which I'll read. Public hearings now open for PZ 260026. DC3 Properties LLC is requesting approval of a rezoning request for the properties located at 340 Kemper Street and 480 Capitol Street from R2 Single Family Residential District to R3 Multiple Family Residential Districts. Item B, HPC 260001, James and Joanna Hartman, property owners have applied to have the old Gooch House designated as a historic landmark outside of the historic district. This property is located at 700 South Main Street. Item C, consider a proposal to amend section 405.125 of the C3 Highway Commercial District, subsection A2 permitted uses. And D, eliminating the voluntary property tax rollback in the amount of 15 cents per $100 of assessed valuation. Anyone wishing to speak on that can step forward now. We have Mr. Huffman.
I just wanted to say something, Darrell Huffman, 2nd Street, Troy. I just wanted to say something about this, these townhomes that's supposed to go on Kimber Street and Capitol Gray. You know, we've got to stop just dumping these apartment complexes all over town. I mean, Boone Street, you know, they've got them littered with apartment complexes. There's nothing we can do about that now. Now we're going to take and put all of these townhomes and apartments in the original town of Troy. We're going to destroy the historic part of our community. We're going to destroy the neighborhood and bring in who knows what. You know, we've got to stop destroying our heritage. We've got to stop destroying the history of our community. And if we dump these apartment complexes where they're wanting to put them, it's going to do just that. You know, if they want to build single-family homes that blend in with the rest of the neighborhood, that's good, that's great. But we don't need 3-story tall apartment buildings set in our backyards. My home's 140 years old. How's it going to look with a 3-story tall apartment buildings right down the street. It's gonna look like hell. Our infrastructure can't handle it, our streets can't handle it. We don't need this. Not in our community, not in our area of town. There's plenty of places that they could build these apartments. You know, and these people that are building them, they don't even have a stake in this community. The owner of this complex that's coming in now is some trust, living trust out of Hannibal, Missouri. And the builder is from Moscow Mills. Go to Moscow Mills and build with the rest of the apartments down there. We don't need it here. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Tamara Morris. Did I say that?
Good evening. I have some packets that I'd like to distribute to you guys, if you would mind. Just, would anyone else like a packet? Good evening. My name is Tamara Morris, and I live at 850 3rd Street, within 185 feet of both parcels in this application. On July 7th, I asked the Planning and Zoning Commission 14 questions about drainage, density, access, soils, and water sewer capacity. Again and again, the answer was, we're not at that stage yet. That commission denied all 3 parts of this application: the rezone, the parcel consolidation, and the site plan. 0 to 6 against. Since then, DC3's own plan hasn't just stayed preliminary, it's gone. He asked for a delay to change his plan before this board ever saw it. Whatever he brings back will be new, and probably several more after that. But it will face the same scar, the same basin, the same soil, the same land, unchanged. There is no vote for the board to take tonight, but that 0 to 6 record doesn't go away in the meantime. That's why I'm here. Whether the scar triggers the 25-foot natural watercourse buffer in 525.050 section H isn't something that gets automatically checked later. It's not on any flood map and not a named stream. This exact question came up on July 7th. One commission member offered his own opinion, but was clear it was not a ruling and that he doesn't create or enforce the code. No one has actually made that determination. I also followed up with the city administrator in writing, asking him to confirm this feature would be flagged for the building official's review. He hasn't had the opportunity to reply yet, so as of tonight, that confirmation isn't on record. So my ask doesn't depend on a vote. I'm asking this board to formally direct the building official to evaluate this feature against 525.050 section H now, and that this directive be recorded in tonight's minutes. This isn't only about DC3. Land changes hands. If this property is ever sold, developed by someone else, or comes back under new ownership, the next owner's engineer starts from a blank page unless this board puts something on the record tonight. A determination now means the next owner cannot claim that it was never raised. That's the difference between fighting this fight once or fighting it over and over every time this parcel changes hands. To be clear, I'm not asking you to deny anything tonight. There's nothing to deny. I'm asking you not to treat tonight as a pause button. Directing the building official costs the board nothing, and it closes the only stage in this process where the public has no voice at all. If this board prefers to wait, I understand, but I'm asking that all of tonight's supporting data, LiDAR, elevation, and site evidence be attached to the minutes regardless. If a future plan tries to run a road past this basin without addressing Chapter 525, the record will show the physical limits of this land were raised tonight on the record. Thank you, and I'm glad to answer any questions.
I don't have any questions, but I do want to say thank you. This is by far one of the most detailed public statements I've ever seen, and I appreciate it. I like the fact you thoroughly explained it, went through all the stuff. I really do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, because it was a lot of work.
I believe you. I believe you.
I'll make sure that the clerk includes this in minutes.
Thank you.
I do have a comment, being on the P&Z board. Planning and zoning board voted this down unanimously. There was conversation about it. Nothing really positive. I'll give Ms. Moore credit. Like Connor said, I've never seen this much depth in something. It shows that there's a ditch in there that's not just a little ditch, but anybody that's probably lived at the bottom of the hill realizes exactly how much water comes down there. By our own records, by our own ordinances, by our own laws, there's a lot of stuff that says this shouldn't happen. Not in the way it's presented. I've never been a firm believer of that. Once this goes in, we vote on it. It's got to go through a process and a process and a process. Well, after all, the first process, after we vote on it, when we vote on it, that after that point, we're no longer involved. The citizens are no longer involved. It's usually one or two people, and that's it. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with taking a parcel of property and rezoning it, and then something falls through, and then the owner jacks the price up and tries to sell it because now the rezoning has changed to their benefit. I think that after, if anything does change hands, it goes back to R1 and start all over. I don't believe that it should be continued to go on and on, because so many times developers buy property, do little or nothing other than get it rezoned, sell it for more money to somebody else. And that's not fair to the city. It's not fair to anybody that lives in that area. And like I said, I've never been a proponent for that. It's just that over the years, it takes at least half of the board and the mayor's vote to say something, to change it or to leave it. It's never been an individual vote. So, like I said, the P&Z board turned this down unanimously. And I would like to think that this board does the same. But
So yeah, that was the next question. So the P&Z has turned it down, and then maybe you guys turn it down, but it still remains R2. And under R2, who knows?
it's less density, is all it is. I mean, every time it goes up, it increases the density of the people that put on the amount of square footage of the property. It changes the homes, single-family homes, one house. Duplexes, two of them stuck together. Triplexes, three of them stuck together. Apartments, you go up, get up. Yeah, each zoning change allows. Usually it's got the previous and it adds more to it. From C1 or R1 to R2 to R2 to R3. C1 to C2 to C3. It's just an increase for each one. So,
And at what stage is the 525 determined?
Well, we have given, when you sent the emails to us, we have given those to the building department to begin the research about that exactly. Since it is outside the mapped floodplain or floodway, we'll have to do some legal research on how those restrictions apply or don't apply. So I will make sure that it's entered into the minutes, and our building department has been given that, so we'll do that.
And when can we expect that determination to be made?
I'm not going to put a time on it. I don't know.
So not before the next Alderman hearing?
We don't know if we're going to have to get an outside engineer to take a look at that. We're not quite sure yet. So I don't want to set a time because it might take longer, it might take less time. I'm not quite sure.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make sure that city administrator stays in contact with you.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you.
I'd like to thank you also for putting forth all the effort that you have in speaking and trying to hold the board accountable.
Thank you.
Okay. Joe Silveraggio, did you want to talk about this, or did you want to talk about something else?
Same thing.
Okay, because you had marked agenda items, so I just wanted to.
Oh, okay.
No, you're
I'm
fine.
sorry. My name's Joseph Aggio. I live at 410 Capra-Gray. I've lived there for 21 years, and I've always had a nice field behind me, and I get, you know, that development is going to happen no matter what. But what they got going on now that they've proposed is just ridiculous. There's been no environmental studies done. Our infrastructure is probably the oldest in town. It's got to be 60, 70 years old. No way capable of holding 82 more residences. There's just no way. DC3, you know, they went into this, they bought the property. They knew what it was zoned when they bought it, and just assumed that they could come to the board and get it changed. Well, most people that do this and develop property do their due diligence and put contingency contracts on it just for that purpose, to make sure that it's passed. He didn't do that. So he just assumed that this was going to happen. And I mean, I've got a big problem with that. That just tells me what kind of developer he is, because most developers will go in front of you guys before they ever purchase the property. The street is busy enough without adding 82 more residents and only one entrance in and out. I just don't understand that, and it seems like a nightmare for emergency responders. I would hope, I know you're not voting on it tonight, but I would hope and pray that you guys would take the planning and zoning's recommendations and vote this down. I mean, like I said, I realize something's going to be built there, but what they're proposing is just off the charts. Thank you.
Anyone else for items A, B, C, or D on the public hearing? Yes, sir.
I went around, I got a petition going together, most of the people
Can you
here.
come up, state your name and your address for us, please, real quick?
Marion Malloway, address,
Yes.
693rd Street, off of Kemper, also. I went around, I'm gonna hand you a copy of what I've got, because if this not being voted on tonight, there could be more signatures on the next time we get to come up here. But I need an open opinion from all of you guys. Is it about the money, or is it about the voice of the people? Because the people are here, and they're asking you to vote no on extending this to a larger complex, which is on the second page. There are signatures, and I found out that Mr. Hall, and I don't know if he's here tonight or not, so I won't badmouth him, he was told his renters, who've been renting from him since '91, they're handicapped. 2 of them are having mental, I won't go into that. They're working at Pizza Hut. They told me their whole story. Their rent was promised not to go up, but it went up $300. If this ordeal goes through, they will be evicted. Is that something you guys want on your conscience? Because I don't. Along with, I mean, I look out my backyard and I can see the sun coming up and down. I don't want no building back there, not that tall. Now, if he wants to put houses in there, condos in there, I'm not opposed to anybody improving Troy. It would still be income for Troy, But $160,000 is not the complete number, because once this is built, then it becomes a cost to the city as well, which diminishes that $160,000 that was talked about at the last meeting. I'm just begging you all to take into heavy consideration the voice of the people. Yes, infrastructure has to happen, but it doesn't have to happen this way. And that's pretty much what I have to say for tonight.
Thank you.
Sir, I will say one thing, that every year we get our budget book for the city. When you open it up on the very first page, usually right there, it gives a basic chain of command, and it says the citizens of Troy, number one. The mayor and the board of aldermen, two, and all the people who work for the city. Goes on down. But the citizens of Troy are number one.
Appreciate it.
If you'll step up, say your name and address for us, please.
My name is Teresa Gooch, and I live at 340 Boone Street. And as you all know, we have new apartments across the street from me, apartments down the street from me, and I too appreciate everything you have done and everything everybody else has said. Living on Boone Street, even prior to the apartments at 351 Boone Street, which is directly across from me, I would like to mention that we were not aware of the meeting that that apartment complex got built because we were actually out of town. I would have been here for that one. However, we have qualifying events that start at Main Street and go to Trojan Stop Sign. We've called the police numerous times. Now we have an apartment complex with more than 15 children living in there. Everybody's got a place to go, but it should be safe. And it's not on Boone Street. Now we have Boone Street Commons in addition to that. And I don't know who thought it was a good idea to put the massive apartment complex down by Boone and Lincoln, because that's already a cluster. And you can put your own expletive in there if you would like, because it is, and it's only going to get worse. Now we've got an apartment complex. Where are they going to come out of? On 47? Oh, that stretch of road is great. I know they're getting ready to fix it, but we can't handle the apartments that we have now. We can't handle the infrastructure, cannot possibly handle anything else. They haven't fixed the street in front of our house yet from when they tore it up to do the water for the apartments across the street. They came out with the bags, literally bags of asphalt, and cut them open and poured it there. But people still hit that doing at least 35 as they're trying to qualify. So what are you going to do about the safety of all these people that you're going to put in this little tiny piece of property? Where are they going to go? How are they going to get around? We have apartment complexes in this town. I don't know who owns them all, and I don't care because everybody has to have a place to live. I get that. But they're not taking care of them. We have a neighbor in a duplex that has lived there for at least 15 years. Rent's never gone up, and nothing has been done to that place. Nothing. If she wants it done, she takes care of it. The only thing that guy does is mow the ground. Her rent just went up $100. She's been there 15 years. And it's not like she doesn't have documentation where she's asked her landlord. So what are they going to do? Who are these people that are going to, the name of the corporation is Safe Me right now. But it's ridiculous. You just keep putting up more apartments, but you don't think about the people that are going to live there. And I'm not talking about just me in my 100 and some odd year old home, right across the street from an apartment complex. Let's make it 3, actually, because there's whatever that is across from me, Wood Boone, and then the blue ones, and then the white ones, and then the ones on Marble Street. They're everywhere. But the road behind my house on Marble Street, we have asked to have it fixed, and they came out and they did exactly what they should have done. But the road is still falling apart. where are you going to put all these people and all these cars? And do you know they all get deliveries? Everybody gets an Amazon delivery. One way in, one way out. Something to think about. I wasn't prepared to speak, but I got to voice my opinion. Thank you.
You'll state your name and address.
Dan Stites, I live at 430 Cabell Gray, just down the street. My wife and I bought a home, this home last October. We could have purchased, I won't say anywhere, but various places around, and we chose our house in part for the historic nature of this area. It doesn't look like it did in 1900 when our home was built, but the character of it, the flavor of the downtown area, the mix of some smaller, some larger homes, which represent the history of Troy, was important to us. We chose to live there in large part for that reason, as well as for the historic nature of the home. Individual homes, maybe townhomes, something small that would not be an eyesore or would not be an outlier in the community, does at some level make sense. But to put in large apartment complexes really would destroy the historic nature of this area. Many people who would otherwise move to the downtown might choose to go elsewhere. That's hard for local businesses. That's hard for this area to support schools. So we would ask that you not allow this area to become a multi-family residence, that we stay with what we currently have, which is a mix of homes, some quite old, some newer, but which share a relatively common character of some originality, some variability with single-family homes. Thank you.
State your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Ken McGee. This is Jesse McGee. We both live at 340 Beck Road, Truxton, Missouri, but we also lease space at 7C The Plaza, Troy, Missouri. We are both partners, business partners in LLC called Pickleball Shack, and we went in at Hibbett Sports and the warehouse that's behind there, and making it a 22,000 square foot pickleball facility to have 7 courts. And I'm speaking on the amendment, or the 405, 125, I think, to add sports facility to C3 zoning. We just feel that it's a huge need and for our community, not just us, but other future sports facilities who are looking to come and offer some to the community. Of course, we're running a business, but we're super excited just because it's something for all ages, all walks of life. You don't have to be a superstar athlete to enjoy the sport, and it's something that folks don't have to go outside of our town to go to. It's something local and fun, and so I'm just asking that, that you guys vote in favor of that, so that we can have something like that here. You can also follow us in our progress, Jesse McGee through Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. If you just search for Jesse McGee, we are giving daily updates. So we just want to ask for your vote on that amendment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
See no one else, I will close the public hearing. Moving on, we have no other citizen comments that have signed up. Item number 8, City Administrator Report.
Good evening, Board. Just a couple things that were on my memo that I would like some direction for myself and the staff. You'll see that there were a couple items near the end of the memo which I requested at least some direction from the Board about preparing either a discussion or legislation moving forward. First, which is right-of-way permitting or regulations. This is something that we did identify earlier this year as something that is lacking here in the city of Troy. We do not currently have regulations or permitting process for people who do work in the utility right-of-way. For those who live in the Kappa Gray area, Kappa Gray across South Lincoln, Kappa Gray. That area right now is being run with cable for telecom, for fiber. And obviously, there's a lot of people who are concerned about people working in their yard, which is actually part of the city's right-of-way. Most cities do some sort of permitting or some sort of hold bonds and hold some sort of surety so that we know if there's anything that's damaged, especially our streets, or in the residents' cases, their yards or anything in their personal space, that it has to be restored, or we would hold their bond or their surety as collateral so that we can make sure that it gets restored correctly. So this is something I'd like to bring before the board. Most cities do this. It would incur a small fee, some oversight. It would require that anybody doing right-of-way work would have to submit plans so they could show us where they're going to do the work. We would know ahead of time. We could make public announcements to our residents so that our residents know this is happening. That's another complaint I heard. They asked why the city didn't tell them. We told them the city didn't know either until they hit a water line. So these are some things that we're going to do, and we would also hold their bond. So this is something we would like to do. I'd like the board's support in having the staff has already put together some information on this to bring before the board for the next meeting. I didn't want to wait on this and have another discussion and put it out further because we never really know who's going to be coming in, drilling under our streets, tearing up our streets for this utility work. So can I get a consensus from the board that, or if there's an objection maybe?
I'm in favor of it.
Okay. We will prepare legislation for the next meeting for this, and then we'll have our building department update our permitting process online to accommodate this new process.
James, will that address the current fiber optic internet that they're looking to put in next to sewer lines? I had a couple of very nice city workers come out and were in my backyard this last week, and so would this permit issue in this process addressed to them, or are they kind of already grandfathered?
Well, we would definitely reach out to everybody who's currently doing work and ask for a plan and ask for them to come in, and anything more than they're currently drilling, and if they're going to the next street or the next neighborhood, we would want them to both submit us in writing the plan and then also a surety bond. So, I mean, we wouldn't stop them what they're doing at that moment per se, but I mean, if they're going to continue, next street or the next street.
The city's kind of going out and making sure that sewer lines are where they are on the map, and there's just a little stripe of paint on it.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing's been done yet. I do think that makes good sense to support this.
Yeah, when we answer to Missouri One Call, the dig right. So whenever these companies, they are at least calling and getting locates for utilities. So Quiver, us, everybody's out there marking, but we don't know what we're out there doing. We mark it. For all we know, somebody's planting a flower bed in their yard, or somebody's doing a sewer lateral. We don't know. But these telecom companies, there's whole neighborhoods that are painted up. Clearly, there's an indication something's going on, and we'll find the first crew out there that we see and grab them and tell them, hey, this is what we need before you continue. The next item I have on here, this is really something that we've talked about previously, but it is something that will be going into effect nationwide and statewide also on November 12th, and that's the unregulated intoxicating hemp products. They are now being regulated as of November 12th of this year, both federally and with the state legislation. In order for us to either prosecute or enforce these rules in our own municipal courts, we would need a municipal ordinance to shadow or to cover what has already been approved by the state. So we would like to bring back the proposal that we had previously. Now that there is finality to this issue, I know there were some questions before as to where this was going, but we would like to make sure that our officers have the ability to both enforce this locally as the state and the federal government is. So we do have that same legislation that we introduced previously. Unless there's any objection, we would like to bring that back at the next meeting.
When will this Would it be in conjunction with what the state's doing?
We would take,
Afterwards?
it would take effect November 12th. This would give us an opportunity to start educating not just our staff, but also business owners too, to let them know that this is now in effect. They should already know this because it's been all over the news, all over the country, but it will also give us an opportunity to let them know ahead of time. Our goal is not to go out and bust anybody for anything, but rather educate people that here's the date, this needs to be off your shelves or out of your gas station or whatever by this date. And these things have to be moved to dispensaries, which is where it is legally allowed in the state of Missouri. So if there's no objection, we will bring that forward again. And then the last item, which we didn't move forward with because there was still some question at the end of the last legislative session, whether or not there would be any changes or any authorization for video lottery terminals. You'll notice the largest video lottery terminal provider in the state, Torch, they came to terms with the Attorney General's office and they've turned their machines off. There are still some machines that are operating, both in Lincoln County and around the state. The Attorney General of Missouri has made it very clear, and the courts have made it very clear, these items are supposed to be removed and destroyed, but this is being done on a county-by-county basis. So we obviously don't want to necessarily take that stance per se, but we do think we've seen them being removed out of most places, but there's still a few lingering. We would like the board's support in writing letters to these individual businesses, reminding them this is the determination of the courts, that under Missouri Constitution, these are considered gaming devices, and these gaming devices have to be in a permitted casino, so they can't be in gas stations or private venues. So for us, this is, again, more of an educational opportunity for us to reach out. I know a lot of cities have done this, a lot of counties have done this, just letting people know that, you need to get these out. It's really for their benefit. I mean, state officers or the Attorney General is still vigorously enforcing this, across the state. But unless there's any objection, we would like to do that as part of our communications with our businesses.
There's not objection, James, but can I ask a question, Chief, really quickly? I know the Highway Patrol has been putting on training for other agencies to enforce those laws as well. Is there a chance you can look into that and see if we can send one of our guys or one of our guys volunteer to go to that training to assist with the enforcement of those laws in Troy?
Yep, we will look into that. I appreciate that. I was not aware.
Thank you. I was supposed to go, but my baby was born, so.
Priorities, right?
Yeah.
The last item, which was not on the memo, but it came about at the last minute on Thursday while we were making the agenda, of course, was the item of the zoning request being postponed. So I did get a chance to meet very briefly before we put out the agenda with the developer who stated that he's obviously listened to the concerns of both P&Z and the residents about his proposal. He does intend to submit a new proposal or an amended proposal. I'm not sure what that looks like yet. Obviously, anything to do with townhomes would still be required to be a zoning change. Anything that's not, if it was a duplex or single family, but any duplexes or villas that are attached, those could be done by right. So if that's the case, he may withdraw his zoning change request and amend his site plan for duplexes. In that case, that is something that is permitted by right, and that's something that we would review again if it's a new site plan, but that's something that is allowed in that current zoning district. So I want to say there was, I think it was like 60 duplexes was the density that we calculated that was available or allowed. So, well, it might have been 60 units, but I'll double check. But either way, we're going to be getting a couple new site plans, and I don't think that'll be necessarily ready for the next board meeting because it's going to require review. And as also Ms. Morris mentioned, I did respond over the weekend to her emails. The building department will be reviewing that this week. Our stormwater coordinator will be. And we're also engaging not an attorney, but an engineer to look at these issues as well. So certainly it will face all the scrutiny required by our ordinance, and making sure that our residents are protected with whatever goes there, whether it's a zoning change or the duplexes which are allowed currently.
Now, if he makes those changes and he comes back with them, won't he have to go before the planning and zoning again before he comes to us?
It's really the purview of the board. I mean, the board has changed site plans right here in the meeting with a pen and a paper. I mean, we did it last year at the Hamptons. So, I mean, the Walkers came right out of the audience and gave you a new plan and you accepted it. So that didn't go back to P&Z, so it doesn't have to. If the site plan is, proposed as an amended site plan, so long as the staff has reviewed it to make sure that it does meet all the criteria of the ordinance, there's nothing that hinders you from moving forward with it if you'd like. The stormwater review, just to be clear again, though, the stormwater review, well, primarily the stormwater review, which is what I think most people are mostly concerned about, that portion will be done at the construction phase, where engineered plans would be given to the city that would have stormwater calculations, runoff calculations, et cetera. And there would be a discussion about, where that water is detained, what the flows would be, and any other issues that are, part of our stormwater ordinance. So.
My recommendation to Alderman I'm sorry for one minute. Again, based on the unanimous vote 0-6 on the original plan, and my belief would be they hold some level of higher expertise than I do. I'd like to see it go back before. I don't know how that works, or I just can make the suggestion to go back before the planning and zoning before it comes to us. I would like them to review and give their feedback. That would be my recommendation.
I kind of agree, because I think more eyes that look at this, the better.
I do got one thing on that too. I mean, as Alderman, Deer said, sorry. If it's already gone to P&Z and they already started at 0-6 I mean, if P&Z already struck it down, why are they coming to us if they already said no? That's my question.
The board still does that decision, because planning and zoning.
They've already said it, I mean.
Right, planning and zoning is a recommendation, and then it's up to the six of you to either accept that or cancel it.
There were so many concerns, not just the overpopulation in that, or dense population in that area. And this has been a concern for just about every development that's went into town. It seems that you think about these things once you sit on this side of the board, but you guys are better than some, because a lot of people don't think about things that will affect them down the road. It's like, is the sewer infrastructure capable of handling that? I don't know. I can't say yes or no, but it is old. Ryan could probably answer that better than anybody. I don't know how much they've done for the camera up there in that area, but it's even like where I live. Say we've got an 8-inch line that runs halfway through town, and they keep building, I'm here, and it doesn't get bigger till down here, but they keep adding homes up here. I've never had a sewer backup. I hope I never do. But at the same token, realistically, I don't know any other way to put this, but as simply as I can, when people get up and go to work between 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning, can you imagine 400 or 500 homes, new homes to this side of me now, that all that sewage has to come past your house, that at 5 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the morning, those toilets start flushing. It's gotta go somewhere. Most toilets are 3 to 5 gallons at a whack. There's a whole lot of sewage going past my house. And I'm on a newer part. So I know the INI is bad throughout the entire city. least that's what they keep telling us over the years. The older part with the clay pipes and stuff, tree root can go a long ways. And there's just so many things concerned with this particular development because it's in the older part of town, because of the slope of the ground. Talking about flooding from the upper part of this thing, on the upper part off of Friendship Court, where when a heavy rain, they had to block their back door to keep the water from coming in their house. That's on the top side of this development. That's not the bottom side, that's the top. You know, like Ms. Morris had said, that there's an 8-foot ditch, or at least this thing shows the possibility of an 8-foot ditch in there. That's a lot of ditch. And there's a whole lot of things that are left very vague in a lot of laws. So I just recommend everybody do as much research as Ms. Morris has, because I'm a firm in agreement with the P&Z board like that. I'm on that board. There's a whole lot of reasons why we turned it down. It just wasn't because we didn't want a 3-story apartment sitting in a field, or I should say 82 units. It had to do with the fact that the terrain of the ground, the people who live at the bottom of the hill, the people who live at the top of the hill, the sewage problems, the water problems, the backup problems, the potential problems that could happen. So, like I said,
I do want to remind the board two things. Number one, the zoning is what it is, and it allows for duplexes. And it was done that way by the Board of Aldermen throughout the entirety of downtown, Old Town Troy. Last year, we went through a year process of our comprehensive plan, and the Board of Aldermen and the Planning and Zoning adopted a comprehensive plan which shows multifamily all through that area of downtown. Did not show any changes to what our current zoning is. To deny it, I mean, you can't. I mean, you're going to have to allow what is allowed by the zoning. Yes, are they going to be told to put in retention, upgrade sewers, all those things? Potentially, possibly, yes, that'll all be reviewed, but just so that we're aware, I mean, to the residents' point, this was not bought on contingency. This was not a, hey, if I get told no, I lost my $1,000 earnest money, I'm going away. They spent millions on this property, or $1.5 million or whatever it was. They're going to build something here, and they're going to build duplexes. So I think it is going to be something we need to recognize. We're going to need to work with this developer or put aside the money for a legal battle, because he didn't spend $1.6 million for a single-family house there. So I think that's what the number was. But so I think we need to remember that, because again, it's supported by our comprehensive plan, adopted by this board, supported by planning and zoning, adopted by planning and zoning. It is what it is. Issues of stormwater, sewer, utilities. I mean, we'll obviously have all of our experts work on that and ensure that those things are covered, but I just want to caution everybody before you get too far down the road that there is an option to work with the developer on a plan development in which we can make other demands of the developer. I would suggest possibly being open to a conversation with him about that. You may be able to get more out of it than you're currently required to get. Right now, he's only required to do what the ordinance says. If the ordinance doesn't say do it, he doesn't have to do it. So I think that's something that we should really be considering in a future conversation with him. I would hate for us, and I would hate for the residents there, to have a bunch of barracks-looking boxes jammed behind their homes, because that's the way it was zoned by the board however many years ago.
Is that it?
And that is all I have, I'm sorry.
Is that it for your action items?
Yes. Well, I'm sorry. Well, we do have a couple items that are under my report, but that's the approval of the master gardener, if you want to go ahead and bring that up.
Under staff initiatives, we do have the approval for master gardener signs at Main Street and Boone. They're doing the maintenance and planting flower beds. They have requested the board allow them to put out a sign. There was an example in your board books. Any questions about that? Do we have motion and a vote on that?
Yeah.
Motion, do I have a second? Second. Have a motion and a second, any debate? It did, it's not very big.
24 by 18.
Yeah, like a yard sign.
That's fine.
All in favor? Yes. Any opposed? Motion passes, thank you. Number 2 on that section, special event application of the Dream Run for 2026 with an alternate route scheduled for October 17th of 2026. I think we have somebody from, you want to step up and address?
Good evening. All right. My name is Emil Moore. I'm the Executive Director of the Troy Dream Center. This year, we are going to have a 5K and 1 mile walk. Several years ago in 2023, we had that was the last time that we had our 5K. The route that year was very similar to the route this year, except for this year, I wanted to start at our new property, which is over on 80 Main Street. So I believe you all should have, everybody has one of these? Everybody has one of the copies of the new proposed route. So the route.
That's number 6.
If not, I got a route to it. Does everybody have it, or?
10-6.
You need one, sir?
Second to last page.
Thank you. All right, so this route right here, it's just a little different than the one from 23. The one at 23 started actually at the City Park, went out Monroe Street, went down Main Street to Wood Street, cut over on Walnut, then went down College to Buchanan Street, and then down Boone, and then back up to Main Street. So this proposed route this year would start on Annie Avenue, right next door to the Dream Center. It would kind of loop around and go all the way down College Street, all the way to the neighborhood back over there, and then down Boone Street to Main. And then we'd go up to Main and Monroe, and we would just do a kind of a button hook right there, a turnaround, and then come all the way back down Main to our property right there at 80 Main Street. We wouldn't have to shut down any streets. We would be on the side of the road. And the reason why I made this route the way it is because I really want to engage all of downtown Troy. So I've already talked to some of the boutiques down there. I've talked to hecklers, and I've been talking to Honky Tonk about making this really an event. We're proposing, or we're expecting, probably about 200 to 250 people to participate. Honky Tonk has already agreed to let us use their parking lot, which is right there, so it extends back to the end of our property, and we have parking on our property as well. And so the really exciting thing about this is that in conversations with Honky Tonk, we're looking at doing some sort of limited menu or brunch menu potentially with them. So when people get done with the race, they can go to the restaurant right next door. And then as far as the businesses downtown, offering some sort of discount for people that participated in the run, just to kind of flood them with additional businesses or with additional people. You know, my whole entire goal with this is just to bring more business downtown and just really be inclusive amongst all the entities down there. Since we're just over the hill, you know, I want people to go just over the hill back the other way and be a part of those businesses down there. So this route, I think, does that, gives people an opportunity to go down Main Street and showcase our downtown. And so I just wanted to get the board's approval and actually answer any questions. I did talk to Heckler Hardware. They're the only one that is open during the time of our race. So our race would be from 8 to 9. No other businesses downtown open up until right about either 9 or 10 o'clock, including the bank that is there. And so Heckler was 100% fine with us, you know, just kind of blocking off some of the parking spaces right in front of their business. So traffic would still be able to go, we just would be on the side of the road, and it would really only be about an hour, and that's really for walkers. Runners will get done a lot quicker than that. So I want to answer any questions you guys have, but I think it's going to be a fantastic event that's going to bring a bunch of people to downtown.
The donation link already open?
Absolutely. So, great question. So, the Dream Center, you know, we're a faith-based men and women's residential recovery home. This event is actually free. So, we have a national accreditation through a Missouri Coalition of Recovery Service Providers, and they have given us a grant to where we can offer this as a free event for the public. Now, that's awesome because that'll have more people be able to come in, but this is also too a part of our Double the Impact month. So we had some of our donors last year say, hey, you know, we're going to match every donation up to, you know, $25,000. And so this year, as a part of that campaign that we have in October, this event's going to be a part of it. But since it's free, you know, we have that community right there around the Dream Center, and then also two extending communities that will be able to come in and participate either in the walk or the run at no charge. And if they want to make a contribution, that'll go towards our Double the Impact. So again, I mean, the Dream Center wouldn't be here if it wasn't community supported and community funded. And this community has really adopted us and made it their own. And so I just think this is going to be another thing that we'll be able to really just shine a light on the community and how well they have received us. Questions?
Okay. Chair, will entertain a motion to approve the special event application for the rerun 2026 alternate routes. That motion here. Alderman Walls. Right? I'll second. Yes. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is that it for city administrator?
Yes, sir.
All right. Moving on, no unfinished business. That brings us to new business. New business, bill number 1474. An ordinance of the city of Troy, Missouri, eliminating previously adopted voluntary property tax rollback in the amount of 15 cents per $100 of assessed valuation, declaring the necessity of restoring the city's property tax levy to the rate that would have been in effect had the voluntary rollback not been taken, authorizing submission of this ordinance to the Missouri State Tax Commission and providing for an effective date. Bill number 1474, an ordinance of the city of Troy, Missouri, eliminating a previously adopted voluntary property tax rollback in the amount of 15 cents per $100 of assessed valuation, declaring the necessity of restoring the city's property tax levy to the rate that would have been in effect had the voluntary rollback not been taken, authorizing submission of this ordinance to the Missouri State Tax Commission, providing for an effective date. Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Any debate?
This one here is kind of touchy to me because I know years ago we had a, they had a vote for the people that created a capital gains tax. In the event of the capital gains, it caused the rollback. The capital gains tax doesn't have a sunset clause on it, so it can continue on forever.
Capital improvement? Capital gains or capital improvement?
Capital improvement.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
It's been a long day. And so it goes on forever. So now we're going to ask the people to pay more taxes on the property and still have the other tax enforced as well. So this might take.
Nothing else? I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Dieter,
No.
Gebhardt,
Yes.
Huffman,
No.
Martin,
No.
Lozada,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Mayor Watts.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you. Bill number 1475, an ordinance of the City of Troy, Missouri, designating certain property as a historic landmark, establishing a historic overlay district, or District H, amending the official zoning map of the City of Troy, Missouri, providing for the regulation of the designated landmark. Bill number 1475, an ordinance of the City of Troy, Missouri, designating certain property as a historic landmark, establishing a historic overlay district, District H, amending the official zoning map of the City of Troy, Missouri, and providing for the regulation of the designated landmark. Chair will entertain a motion for approval.
I have a question first. Exactly what would this entail? Do we know yet exactly where this would cover?
That would be the 700 main we had talked about.
Oh, okay,
For the-
okay.
the-
Yeah, okay,
this
I
one
got
house.
you. I got you.
Yep.
All right.
Mary Ann, can you speak on behalf of, give everybody a thank you?
I'm Mary Ann Kemper, and I am the Vice Chair of the Historic Preservation Commission of the City of Troy. And we have worked with Joanna and James Hartman to create what most of us call the Old Gooch House on Main Street as a designated historic site, because it is not in the National Historic District. And we have two different designations of historic properties in Troy. One is the National Historic District, which encompasses most of Main Street. There's some buildings that are in the district and some that are not. All that information is I think it's in Luke's office, if I remember correctly, in a big white book. And we have some individually designated properties. Excuse me, Bonfils Auditorium. Excuse me. Bonfils Auditorium, the Haverkamp office building, the Troy City Park, and then we are asking for the approval for the historic site of 700 Main Street, which is the Hartman property. Is there any question about this? They have completed all the appropriate paperwork for this, and it's been filed with the city.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve bill number 1475.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes, sir.
I have a motion and a second. Let's just clerk call the roll.
Huffman,
Yes.
Martin, Zada,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Gephardt,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Bill number 1476, an ordinance amending section 405.125A2 of chapter 405 of the zoning regulations, specifically amending rules regarding permitted uses in the C3 highway commercial zoning district. Bill number 1476, an ordinance amending section 405.125A2 of chapter 405 zoning regulations, specifically amending rules regarding permitted uses in the C3 highway commercial zoning district. This is the pickleball court that we had discussed a few minutes ago. Chair will entertain a motion to approve. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any debate?
So the only addition is the,
Yeah, we're putting in indoor recreational, because apparently that would have been overlooked, I guess. Yes. Yeah.
So previously, indoor recreation was very specific to like bowling alleys, skating rinks, dance halls, I think. Obviously, there's a lot more indoor recreation these days than previously considered, so we made sure to try to cover a few extra bases so we're not doing this again in 6 weeks or 6 months.
Anything else?
I think this is great. When I was out knocking doors, when I was running, everyone talked about there's not enough stuff in town for kids to do. I think this would be a great opportunity for us to also keep a little bit more money here in town versus it all going down to St. Charles County.
Hearing nothing else, ask clerk to call the roll, please.
Martin,
Aye.
Zada,
Yes.
Wallace,
yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Gephardt,
Yes.
Huffman,
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Bill number 1477, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a quitclaim deed relating to 323 South Lincoln Drive, Troy, Missouri. Bill number 1477, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute quitclaim deed related to 323 South Lincoln Drive, Troy, Missouri. Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any debate? Hearing none, ask clerk to call the roll, please.
Gebhardt?
Yes.
Huffman?
Yes.
Martin?
Aye.
Pizzada?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
Dieter?
Yes.
Motion passes, thank you. Resolution 2026-40, resolution of the city of Troy, Missouri, approving an agreement for master services and matters related thereto. Does that need a second reading as a resolution? Perfect. Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any debate?
So James, this will just be like an on-call thing as we need, and we'll call it.
Correct, because our chief building official has retired, we don't have somebody that is replacing him yet, or somebody trained up to be certified yet. We're engaging a firm that will handle both commercial plan reviews for construction of new buildings, but then also we'll keep this relationship going as a backup. So Moscow Mills uses GBA, George Butler and Associates. A number of communities in the region do, either as their primary or as a backup. So if we had a big building boom next year, and instead of hiring additional staff that maybe we don't want to keep on for a full year, this will give us an opportunity to help engage somebody to help take the workload down. We expect, especially as we review our fees or continue to review our fees, we expect that the fees charged will cover the fees incurred by this agreement.
A part of this will just be until we fill the restructured position.
The review part would be temporary, but we'll always keep, like I said, we'll always keep the relationship open. That way, if we get overwhelmed with, we hope, construction, then we don't have to hire lots of new people. Because what happens is we staff up like that, and then you get a slowdown, then you're either paying people to do nothing or you're laying people off. And so this will be trying to find that right fit.
Anything else? Hearing nothing, ask clerk to call the roll.
Gebhardt?
Yes.
Huffman?
Yes.
Martin?
Aye.
Pizzada?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
Dieter?
Motion passes, thank you. That's the end of new business. Moving on to discussion. Hampton subdivision and easements, Alderman Gebhardt.
I know this has been brought up a lot in years past, but again, we've had several taxpayers that live in that subdivision reach out. They kind of want to know where the city is on, getting to that point where either Meyer Construction takes care of what they need to get it dedicated. How we're doing, for taking care of the easements there, along with a plot at 205, I believe, on Rockford Drive, that's owned by Meyer, that has weeds growing in excess of 6 feet tall that they haven't been touched on. So, again, I'm new to the board, so I'm just trying to get an understanding of where we're at there and what progress can be made to get to the solution.
Sure. So, and I appreciate you bringing this back up. It's something that myself and both previous and current staff have been talking about almost since I got here, because this is something that we identified as not just related to the Hamptons, but I have a list of 10 subdivisions that are either fully or partially undedicated through whatever failures in process and procedure previously, something that we've already remedied so that we don't have that issue. Some of the proposals that we've made over the last year to hold escrows and to hold plats up until we have either dedication or some sort of surety for maintenance of those streets. But we do have a lot of streets that are still, and streets and subdivisions across the city that we have this issue. The Hamptons specifically, I'll speak to. We do have, we did communication actually today with the attorney representing Mr. Meyer. We are working on an updated punch list. one of the things we continue to hear from developers is they're upset that every time they talk to us, the punch list changes. That's because every time we give them a punch list, it takes them a year to fix it, and then something else breaks, and we're not taking it. We're not taking it. It's their responsibility. We're going to hold the line on this, and I encourage the board to as well. I understand it's an inconvenience for the residents, but it's also about holding developers accountable. If we take this over, we're talking about tens of millions of dollars, probably, in infrastructure that is either substandard, not maintained, damaged, that they want to put on taxpayers to fix. These are developers' problems. These are issues that we should be holding them accountable for. Mr. Myers, one that we can hold accountable for because he's still in a business. There's several of these on here that the developer's gone or dead. And so we're going to have to make some tough decisions as a board on how we reconcile that so that we properly take care of our residents while also being good stewards of the revenue and the money that you have. So, so Hamptons is, we've gotten serious with him. He's got an attorney, so it's making progress, I hope. But that's something that we're going to continue to work with. We've actually gotten probably closer with West Hampton Woods, unrelated. That was in litigation that is now concluded, but we've had conversations. I've personally gone over and spoke to their HOA about potentially putting together a neighborhood improvement district so that they put some skin in the game and the city can put some skin in the game to get those streets fixed and then get them back into, the city's infrastructure by getting it all dedicated. So we're putting together a process. The idea is to have a process that we can equally apply to all neighborhoods so that all neighborhoods are treated equally and fairly. It's not going to be perfect. Not everybody's going to be super happy about it, but we certainly don't want a situation where one neighborhood is treated differently than another. Anybody who's similarly situated in these unfortunate situations, we want to make sure that they're treated fairly. The goal is to get it all adopted at the earliest convenience into the city for the least amount of money to the city, and then that way we can, take over maintenance perpetually from there. Like I said, all the new developments that are coming through, we have surety bonds, rather escrows, both for construction and/or maintenance. We're holding up plats until this stuff is taken care of. We're not letting anybody build homes until this stuff is taken care of, as we have in the past. So we don't anticipate these issues to continue in future developments. So I will give you guys updates on these as these kind of come about. But I think we're going to be seeing some, at least with the Hamptons for sure, we'll be seeing that move forward, I think, hopefully pretty quickly. It seems like there's an interest in them closing the door on this too.
Yeah, what can we do with them to get that lot mowed?
The lot what? Mode?
The lots.
So one of the issues of contention right now is that development was developed, I think, by another developer. It was purchased or picked up by Mr. Meyer. So there are parts of the development that he's claiming not ownership of.
The GIS says it right.
I agree, but there's also parts of that development that are in the name of Hampton's HOA, which doesn't exist. So who owns it? And that's a huge problem because the stormwater facilities in that neighborhood were dedicated to an HOA, which doesn't exist. So we have overgrown, I mean, those are behind the development, so people don't notice it, but it's a serious problem for stormwater infrastructure. All of this was approved before we governed our own stormwater system, so that's not on our map. It's not registered with DNR. It's not part of our normal maintenance and inspections, but it was done, and that's another issue that we're going to have to try to come to terms with, because that obviously affects everybody else downstream. So luckily right now I don't think there's that many people downstream, but there will be. Developments will continue to happen, and we want to make sure that they're protected as well. So
I understand the progress with the subdivision and all, but I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to get that lot taken care of when you've got kids out there that can't play out there because of the mosquitoes and everything, that thing being so high.
I mean,
if our own GIS says it's mired, it's mired until it's not.
And we've cited it. But I mean, that's a long process. Unfortunately, we're not looking to get. We're looking to get them to remediate it, as you're saying. We're not trying to just fine them, but I don't know why they're holding up. Normally, it's been a every year thing, from what I understand, where they're just slow to do it. They just haven't done it at all this year, which is why it's so bad. I don't know if that's because of this legal discussion we're having about who owns what, but that's an ongoing conversation. And we will try to get that cleaned up. If it doesn't get remediated, we can have conversations with our prosecutor about getting a court order to clean it up ourselves, but we have to get, we'll have to get an order from the judge to say we can enter upon the property to clean it up for health and safety.
See, has the city ever looked into, the very first city I worked in law enforcement many years ago, they adopted an ordinance to where we had kind of junk yards, unkept yards, and if these people did not take care of them, the city, like you said, would pay and have that taken care of, and then it would either be assessed to their taxes or assessed in a different way. Has this city ever had anything like that?
So I had that conversation. I mean, this is something I'm very familiar with in other communities that I've worked for and worked in. My understanding is that twofold is the reason why the city of Troy has never done it. Number one, the city just always assumed that they would lose the money, that they would never get paid back. Number two, and I was told this by our prosecutor, that our assessor will not assess it to the taxes. So typically, as you were saying, we would do it. We would put what they call a special tax lien. It's not tax, just it's a fee, it's a fine, but they go on to the bills as a special tax lien so that it has to be paid with your taxes or ends up being part of the, it perpetually stays on the property.
Very successful ordinance.
Sure.
Way back when, I'm sure it's still.
Oh, I mean, we use it all over. We used it in St. Louis County, where I came from, a lot. But and if they don't pay those after 3 years, it goes to tax sale. But my understanding is the assessor will not put special tax liens on in Lincoln County. That is.
Is that just the current assessors?
That is, I guess, his decision. I mean, it's not grounded in any law that I know of. Everybody else does it, so.
That's okay?
Yes.
So, is that worth a conversation? Can we have a conversation?
Might be.
I mean, I know the conversation's been had with him, but I don't know what the reasoning really is. But we can continue that.
That's a good point. I don't know if you're referencing, I think Winsville has something similar.
I'd assume, yeah, because I mean.
Oh, most cities do. I mean, you can't, especially a community like Troy that is as old as it is and has, aging homes and plenty of areas that, I've continued to hear both from residents and board members that we would like to focus on trying to clean it up. It's the one tool you have, especially for health and safety. We've been lucky that a few properties we've cleaned up here in Troy this past year, but that's just by enough pressure that they actually cleaned them up themselves. But I mean, we have homes that probably should be condemned, but the reality is, if you go through that process, the city absorbs all the cost. If nobody's going to let you put it on a tax lien, then all we do is we go to the courts, and then that never gets exercised. So it's in the past, my understanding is it's also been a cost-benefit analysis. It cost us, X amount of dollars to, $500 to clean this up, and $1,000 in legal costs. The taxpayers just paid $500, because we're not recouping it all. So I think that's been part of the thought process in the past. Honestly, it's got to be a decision of the board that says it's worth it to us to get it clean. And it's also a health and safety issue, as you mentioned, so.
And last but not least, I did have a screenshot sent to me by a taxpayer over there in that subdivision that wanted to give a shout out to Patrick Donovan, who used his own riding lawnmower and did the perimeter and by the pond there and everything like that. And it shouldn't have to come down to that, but we have good people in this town and good people around the country that do step up and do these things when we're still kicking the can.
Well, ultimately, one thing that, to make sure that we're clear too, that property is also either green space and or part of the non-functioning stormwater system that is supposed to operate there. So even at the conclusion of this, that property will not be Mr. Myers forever. His intention would be, and part of the platting was, it should go to the HOA for maintenance. The residents there should have an HOA that maintains it. they don't.
And that's something that they'll have to.
And so that's what's going to be part of the difficult
And
conversation.
I think they
going
understand.
forward.
I think from who I've talked to, they understand that.
Good.
You know, it's just they want to get this part with Meyer taken care of, and then they'll get the ball rolling and everything else.
Well, now that we have the lawyers involved, I hope that this is going to be expedited. They seem to be at least in earnest. In the past, it seemed like it was more of a delay game.
And if we're losing contractors, you know, dropping like flies, I think we need to stay on top of the ones that are still around as hard and fast as we can, you know, keep after it.
President, I agree with you, what you said earlier. That you can GIS everything and they give you an owner of that property. Almost everything you do in the state of Missouri, you can find out the owner within a second. It makes me wonder why that says there's no owner, you know. And years ago, like I said, being on the board for so damn long, I'm almost positive there's something in the ordinances that stated that when they're issued a summons to clean up the property, and there are 10 days to do that, or they get a warning, they got 10 days to do it, and then they got 10 days, then they're issued a summons, and they got 10 days to do that. If they don't do that, they can wind up in court. You know, and it proceeded even farther to the fact that the city would, in this case, mow it. And at that point, they would put a mechanic's lien on the property. And when the property was sold, the city regained their money that they spent to do that. How many years ago that was, I'm not sure, but it must have been a long time ago. And even if you look in our ordinances, there's something in there about all of that. And so if we can find out the owner, which shouldn't be that big of a deal, unless there's property that nobody owns, I'm kind of curious on that one.
We've known everybody's known who the owner is. We've been talking to him for years. We're talking to his attorney now. This is just a matter of getting them to do what they're supposed to do. They're disputing who owns what phase they took over, what phase things were constructed in. So, I mean, this has been ongoing since long before I got here, and unfortunately, at this point it's dragging out to get that lot cut longer than it certainly should. And I don't know if that's his attorney telling him, don't do anything until we have agreed to what is yours and what's not, but that's certainly all part of the conversation. So I can talk to the attorney tomorrow, or Brian and I can talk to him to see if we can at least get, again, because of the health and safety issue, they need to at least get that cleaned up, knocked down, so.
Number 2, placing non-solicited resident business owners on committees.
I put this on there because I had some people contact me about being on the P&Z board. I've said this many a time in the past year. There's been quite a few times in the past when we have a P&Z meeting, we don't have a quorum, so we don't have a meeting. Everything's shut off and shut down, kicked, like I've heard, kicked down the road, because we don't have the people show up for the meeting. We have one particular person on the meeting, on the agenda, on the board, that hasn't attended a meeting in over a year. I think it was in June of 23 that they had worked on an ordinance to try to, if people don't show up, don't attend the meetings, they can be replaced.
So Dennis, I looked up the ordinance that we had passed, the one that you're referring to. It is titled elected official attendance, and it is mostly, if not exclusively, elected officials, not appointed.
It was just strictly for
for the board.
Okay. Then what we need to do, I think, is to have the ordinance changed at all boards. Because we got people that don't show up, and like I said, this one particular person has not showed up for over a year. And there's been numerous times they've been one person short. So they don't have a meeting. The board shows up, the the people show up, hoping to get something resolved and nothing happens. So I'd like to see that taking place, because I know we got people that have put in for these boards. Matter of fact, the ones here tonight. But we need to fill these boards so we can have the meetings. Either that or dissolve the boards. I mean, if that's what they really want to do. And I don't recommend that.
Brian, I believe there was a state, we had found there was a controlling state statute for planning and zoning specifically.
There is,
That said
yes.
that to remove somebody, they have to have a public hearing and a,
So to remove somebody, I was looking at the ordinance for non-residents.
for not,
Yeah.
yeah, but talking about removing somebody though, would require
Correct.
a public hearing by the planning and zoning board itself, right? Isn't that the state statute, is that?
I don't remember who holds it. Somebody does, but I don't know if it's the
You are-
board.
Mayor, you are correct. The council may remove any citizen member for cause stated in writing after a public hearing.
But it's the Board of Aldermen,
Right.
not the P and Z.
So this is the P and Z statute.
Right, but the removal is by the
The
board.
board has
Yes.
it, not.
Right, correct, yeah.
Correct.
Who does it?
The board does.
The board does it. Yeah.
After a public hearing.
So we need to get that ball rolling. For it's 2 years that he hasn't been here. I think after the third year, he's got to be replaced anyway.
Well, I don't think there's anything that stops you from doing it now. You just need to state in the public hearing what the reasons for removal would be.
Yeah.
I mean, dereliction of duty, lack of participation.
I will say it does need to be stated in writing.
Yeah, it does say that.
Yeah. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be previously written what the criteria is. You just have to defend it. You have to have a valid reason. Valid reason is,
So,
whatever.
We have somebody not showing up at P and Z board for 2 years, who makes that written request? Could be anybody, has to be a board member, P and Z?
I would say it has to be 2 board members, just like.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I would-
it would be like 2 board members.
Mhm.
I'd say I think that's a no-brainer. To James's point, dereliction of duties. Alderman Dieter, I'm looking at your request here, you're also requesting a business owner be allowed to be on the board even if they're not a city resident, is that?
Well, that was one of the concerns I had at the time, because not knowing how many people, if any people had signed up for it, I did have one business owner from the city of Troy, and very responsible person, and does a tremendous job, and they do build, to give you an example, they even brought a thing to the P and Z to build some homes that the architecture even matched the surrounding houses in that area. And it was an older part of town. So, they got a lot of businesses here in town and some well-established businesses. And she had asked about being on there, and I said I would look into it.
So I've done that research in conjunction with James. James also provided me with some information as well.
The statute that we're referring to says that the board can be no more than 15 and nor less than 5 citizens appointed by the mayor. Citizens has been interpreted to be citizens of the city. So I think there is a residency requirement for the planning and zoning and the board of adjustment. The other boards, I don't believe, have the same requirement. I didn't go into detail on those.
The only thing, and this was the statute that you just sent, the one thing I don't know is that there's an explicit allowance for other boards to be people outside the city, so long as it's a fourth-class city, less than 3,000 people.
Right.
So, to me, I would say if you're more than 3,000 people, then I guess.
I think they're assuming you could find somebody.
Right.
If you're more than 3,000
So
people.
they carved out an exception for small.
Very small.
Right, but that just says non-elected boards in general.
Right.
So that that would make me think if you have to call that out, then you wouldn't allow any boards
Right.
to have a not unelected, but a non-resident be a member of. Otherwise, why put that in the statute in the first place? So.
I know when I looked up the statute, when we talked about that earlier, that statute that I brought to you, and I don't have it with me right now, but it clearly stated it was up to the Board of Alderman to decide whether or not a person could be inside or outside the limits.
Yeah, and
city limits.
I think you're looking at the 3,000. That's why that's popping up when you do that Google search. Because I hit that thing first when
But in
I,
that particular one that I had brought up,
Yeah.
it didn't state the population size.
oh, it didn't?
Or did it?
Okay, I think it did. Yeah,
I'm not-
I think that's the
I'm not sure.
one, I think that's the one that James is referring to that was under 3,000.
It's been going on a few months.
It has, yeah, it has.
Will you send us the links?
I can, absolutely. Yeah.
Excuse me, but for the Historic District Committee, the commission, those rules are set up by the National Historic District, and they are in the book in the Office of Light Ordinance. And they have to be a resident or own a business within the city limits of Troy to be on the Historic Preservation Commission, and that's by the national government.
Thank you. Okay. Number 3, data center regulation ordinance. Alderman Martin.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of conversation lately, I'm sure you guys have seen all across the state about data centers. I think there's a little bit of confusion, because some people online are saying, well, that doesn't affect Troy, because we can't have a massive data center. And that's true, we can't have one of the 500-acre ones, but a data center can be as big as this room, it can be as big as a house, it can be as big as Walmart. We have multiple spaces in Troy that allow for that kind of thing. I do want to note, because some people came out and said, oh, I'm proposing something to ban data centers. That's also not true. What I want to propose and to look at is putting a moratorium in place until January or until the city staff have researched how other munis in the state of Missouri regulate data centers, and whichever's earlier. And then at that point, we put into place some very strict regulations regarding these things. At the end of the day, my biggest concern is how it's going to affect utility rates and things like that in Troy. There's talk now about how these things are going to generate their own nuclear power, but now there's been setbacks and that's not set up quite yet. And I don't want to see residents' rates go up due to that. I also have concerns regarding any type of noise pollution, anything like that that might affect neighboring residents. And then additionally, one of my biggest concerns, I've mentioned it more than once, you know, St. Louis has been like the gem of Missouri, and I love St. Louis to death. But it's also obvious that within the last few decades, it's emptied out. We have all these old factory buildings and shops and things like that that just sit vacant now. There's talk about these data centers within the next 10 to 20 years all going into space. That's from the national government, that's not from me. And I worry that 10 to 20 years from now, we're just going to have vacant buildings around Troy. I don't want that. I want stuff that's going to come in and be permanent and bring permanent benefits to Troy. So I'd like us to just look into regulations that protect the long-term stability of the city and not just making a quick buck off of tax revenue.
And so I went into it yesterday, and I think it takes 0.8 of an acre for 1 megawatt. I don't know what 1 megawatt is for a data center, because that's considered the bottom, the little center. So I don't know if a 1 megawatt data center is what it consists of or not. I don't know.
Yeah, and again, this isn't a complete ban on all data centers in the city of Troy. It's a temporary moratorium until we can put regulations in place that ensure you're not going to have massive ones come in that put great strains on the utility network of the city.
I don't think we have a parcel of ground big enough.
What's that?
I don't think we have a parcel of ground big enough for the city.
I mean, like I said, it can be as big as this room. We have multiple parcels in the city limits that are as big as this room.
I toured one in St. Louis that's smaller than Walmart, so quarter the size of Walmart, maybe an eighth the size of Walmart. So, I mean, they can go if you got the utilities. Just drive out 70 now and see what they're building. It's insane. We don't have that capacity.
No, and again, I'm not talking about the hyperscale data centers, I'm just talking about any data center at all, until we can put some common sense regulations in place. This is a temporary moratorium. I don't even think right now we have the immediate capability, electricity-wise, to bring them in, but sometime in the next 6 months, someone decides to build one within city limits. I want us to be set up to where we're taking a proactive approach. Because we've seen other communities across the state where they didn't take a proactive approach, and then they caught themselves in lawsuits because they didn't have the proper paperwork in place to stop them from coming to town. At the end of the day, this is just to protect the citizens of Troy.
Is there consensus from the board to have staff begin research on regulations and rules for data centers?
Can I just ask, it makes sense to me to kind of get our ducks in a row and moratorium until January 2027, just so I'm clear, city staff immediately begin conducting research. Who is that city staff? That you
Me or otherwise delegated parties.
That's like tonight, immediately. So, you know.
I'm already ahead of the game.
Is there consensus to move forward, have staff begin that research?
And the resolution for the moratorium next month.
So, Mr. Mayor, just so we're clear, so a moratorium is considered a zoning action. So we will have to follow the zoning process, P and Z, public hearings, just to establish the moratorium. So because you're telling somebody they can or can't do something with their land, you have to follow the same process as any other zoning action. So we will get that together immediately, and we'll put it on I think we can get it on the next agenda. I don't see why we wouldn't. But we'll check publishing dates and public hearing dates, and we'll get it on the next available agenda for both P and Z and for the board.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Number 4, meeting video and transparency. Alderman Martin.
This is something that I actually saw before the election, people talking about how there's not an easy way to access and watch the board meetings. I know Mr. Huffman has been doing this for a few years. I know John Eads with Lincoln County Watch has come in and done it a few times as well. And the complaints I've heard from both of them is that every now and again, the internet goes out or whatever else. So I'd like to, and I know we had briefly mentioned it during the last budget meeting, some potential upgrades to this room. I'd like to see if we can start looking at, I'm not saying this has to be immediate, but put it in perspective for next year's budget. So setting up some sort of like way to Ethernet stream the board meetings so people can watch them live. And if they want, they can go back and review them, you know, with no skips or anything like that due to internet issues or whatever else.
We had discussed adding certain things into the capital improvements for this room, correct?
Yeah. You might recall from my memo that we have to still revisit the capital improvement budget because we were unable to complete that during the last budget cycle while we were coming up with other scenarios. So, but we do have a list of capital improvements. That is certainly something we can put on the list. I know that we've been talking about this for some time, trying to work through some of the logistical issues with putting a fixed permanent camera, et cetera. But we've been talking about it for some time. We'll have a proposal together if that's something that the board wishes to do. And then we can just add that into the capital improvement budget, which we intend to be bringing back before the board here in the next month or so.
Okay.
So my understanding, just so that I'm clear on the specifications, we're talking about live streaming in real time.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's plenty of modes and plenty of methods that we could do it.
Yeah.
So I'm not concerned about that, but and then we can save it. As part of that, I want the board to just keep in mind, the live stream is going to be only as good as the audio. I mean, you're all good looking, and I'm sure people would love to see your faces, but they really want to hear what you have to say. So if in doing this, one of the other things we need to make sure we do is probably take a look at how it either integrates with or replaces our current sound system. I mean, anybody at home right now is not going to hear any of you when you're 3 feet from the microphone.
And I will
So,
say, for those-
not calling anybody out.
For those of us that have met remotely recently, like it's a struggle with how the current sound system set up, so possibly integrating that with
Right.
The meeting, how we do meetings as well.
I would guess it may have to either update or replace the current soundboard, but we'll make sure that we have that included in any project or budget too.
All right, number 5, monthly work session, Alderman Walls.
Yes, so I am recommending, and when I first started exploring the possibility of being an alderman, and coming to city meetings, I attended several meetings where there were work sessions, and while they weren't always perfectly orchestrated and there was some interesting interaction, I felt like that was a healthy move. I became alderman, and I realized about a month or two into it, I'm like, oh, we don't have those anymore. So I think I came in right about the time they were ending for whatever reason, but I truly believe a work session, and I kind of think of an analogy I use a lot, lots of moving parts. When we think about James's board update today, having a public work session where we can talk and vet and ask questions and gain knowledge. I think about our FY 27 budget, that if we want to stay proactive and we really want to look at that and not be caught by surprise next May and really drill down into those details and ask questions. If we want to think about proactively educating individuals, if we're considering a possible use tax next April, how do we proactively do that and not wait till the last minute? I think conversations need to be had and carving out that time. I think my recommendation, it really gives us the opportunity to discuss ideas, ask questions, debate proposals, and work toward compromise as appropriate. And I feel like this board, we're certainly not all yes people or no people. We have a healthy debate, but I think just carving out that a lot of time would be healthy for this board to move forward and for the citizens of Troy. So I just throw that out there. It seems we don't want to have another meeting just to have a meeting, but maybe having it prior to the actual official city meetings. I still have on my calendar invite every month 5:30 Alderman meetings because I thought we were having workshops, and so I don't show up. So I'm always getting the alert to come in at 5:30 for the workshop that we don't have. But I really would I think it's time that we reinstitute some capacity of that. It's my recommendation.
I don't think that's a bad idea, but I don't think it works to do it right before the regular board meeting. We tried that, and a lot of people felt that they were being left out. The public who wanted to hear those things, those arguments and those discussions, it was either too early for them or they were still at work, that kind of thing. So I agree, we kind of do need to do that, but maybe go back to having the second board meeting where we did those discussions, could do those discussions then. And that way the public would be able to make it better.
We do reserve the other, is it?
The first Monday of the month.
First Monday. So we could do first and third Mondays.
I feel strongly enough, absolutely. And after 2 or 3 months of weekly budget meetings, it seems like twice a month. It's not bad.
Is there consensus to begin to go to a first and third work session on the first, meeting on the third?
Mr. Mayor, I would suggest one thing. So I think this is a great idea. I'm glad the board is moving forward with this. We, the staff, will convene and talk about changing our submittal dates. So that way, this will help us maybe speed up some of these conversations. So now that we'll be having conversation 2 weeks before the board meeting and not necessarily cramming everything into the board meeting, we'll need to make sure that we're preparing ourselves for those discussions so that you can have a richer, fuller discussion. So we'll get together and put together a new timeline for submitting RBAs for discussion at those meetings. And then the more that you work with us, the more information we can provide so that we can have a fuller conversation at those meetings. So any research that needs to be done, data or information needs to be provided, the staff can do that. So Carla and I will work out what that new schedule will be if we do this. And we don't have to do it every first Monday, just if there's an item. But I know you guys want to do a lot of stuff, so it probably will be every first Monday. But we'll get that kind of revised calendar for submittals to you.
Okay, thank you. All right, next, communications from the board. We started, it was April, May, June, July. You're up.
We're kind of, I don't have anything, sorry. I just have one remark. I had it in my notes and I completely forgot to mention it when we did the minutes. There's one thing that was supposed to be switched regarding the June 30th meeting regarding, and I know it's because of my motions, but I'll file an RBA for it next month and I'll just send you an email about it. Long story short, one of the motions I made was wrong, was switched with the other one. But I'll send an email and file an RBA for it next month.
Do we have to have a motion to reconsider since we approved it?
Yeah, the minutes were approved already. Are you saying that the minutes are wrong?
Yes. So page 2 of 30 meeting, it says motion by Alderman Martin, second by Alderman Huffman to amend the budget by removing the projected revenue. So that was the amendment to the amendment, and on that one I did get a second. And then the one, and so that needs to be switched with the final vote. Basically, the final vote on Alderman Dieter's amendment was before my motion to amend the amended motion. You understand? Yeah, I know. Parliament's procedure allows it.
If you'll send an email, then we'll have a motion to reconsider.
I just want you to have a heads up that I'll send it, so we're not calling for it. Do you want to do it tonight?
No, I'm just trying to think.
So
I had it.
So I motion to amend.
So you motion to amend the main motion.
I motion to amend Alderman Dieter's amendment. And that, my motion to amend his amendment failed. So then we voted on Alderman Dieter's amendment. That passed. Then I motion to amend the full bill or whatever. That got a second by Alderman Huffman and it failed 5-1. And so just the final vote.
The motion that died lack of a second, you're saying that was.
The motion that dies for the lack of a second is in the right place.
Was to amend the main motion, but by removing the budget allowance wasn't what you were motioning.
No, that is what I motioned to amend. But what I'm saying is the board then returns the pending amendment regarding employee pay increases. That needs to go before my motion that was seconded by Alderman Huffman.
So you're moving it in time, basically. You're moving it before the other motion.
Correct. My motion to amend, I'll email you.
So why don't we do that? Why don't we have an email, and we'll have a motion to.
I'll even send you the bid, just to make it.
We'll have a motion to reconsider on those next meeting.
Yeah, sorry, I meant to bring it up because we didn't have to. I literally had it starred in my notes and.
Anything else? All right. What we get?
I'm good.
All right. I would like to thank the police department, the maintenance department, the road department, and the parks department for their help on the fair parade. We did have one incident where a person drove around the barricades and attempted to injure a city employee. That will be addressed with the fair board about next year's route. But I wanted to thank all the city workers who came out and made that event successful and safe. So we appreciate that. That's all.
I really don't have anything to say.
Nothing? Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to go into closed session for 610-0213 personnel. Have a motion, do I have a second? Now, motion and second. Any debate?
You seconded.
Too loud. Esther, call roll, please.
Martin? Aye. Nevada?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
Dieter? Dieter? Gebhardt?
Yes.
Huffman?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.